We're heading straight to this live event where Maryland Governor Wes Moore is set to announce executive action connected with SNAP benefits.
Governance philosophy of the Trump administration. Because the money is there. They are choosing not to allocate it. The money has been appropriated. They are choosing not to distribute it. This is heartless. This is cruel. And this is unforgivable. And I think about the why we are here, but also the basic necessities that we have to then turn around and provide, because when the federal government says that you are on your own, in the state of Maryland, we say we leave no one behind. And so, today, we are responding to the federal government's dereliction of its duty by declaring a state of emergency inside the state of Maryland. And I will use all powers vested upon me as the governor of the state of Maryland and immediately use my emergency authority as governor to surge $10 million to food banks and to food bank partners all across the state of Maryland. These funds will go to hundreds of institutions with experience distributing food at the regional level, and we are also providing support to local nonprofits, faith-based organizations, food kitchens, farmers markets, school pantries, and also mobile food units. We need to move quickly to make sure we're getting the most support to those most in need. And state agencies are going to work together with local leadership, county leadership, nonprofit partners to ensure that resources are distributed fairly, equitably, and with true accountability. And what's really unfortunate is that these are actions that the state of Maryland is taking because the actions that the federal government is taking are actively hurting our people. And this is not the first time that we have now had to move quickly and swiftly and decisively to be able to make sure that our people are taken care of, since the Trump administration has decided to wage this type of assault on the people of our state. It's why on October 1st, I spoke to Maryland from my office about why Donald Trump's shutdown of government was so detrimental to the state of Maryland, uniquely detrimental to the state of Maryland, because there is no state that is taking a greater level of assault than Maryland by these actions. I explained how we'd be standing up emergency resources for federal workers. I explained that we'd launch contingency plans to keep government programs running, that we announced protections to help Marylanders keep a roof over their head, keep the lights on, keep groceries in the fridge. And every week since October 1st, we have continued to roll out new supports. I hate the fact that we are here. But the reality, Maryland, is that we are here. But the people of our state will make sure that we respond. We rolled out the Maryland Premium Assistance Program to protect Marylanders from increases to their health care premiums, because a prerequisite to keeping the federal government open should not be jacking up premiums by 90%. We instituted new programs at the Department of Labor to protect federal workers who are now missing paychecks, many of whom are working every day and not getting paid. It's ironic that we have people in Maryland who are working and not getting paid, and we have politicians in Washington who are getting paid and not working. We made MARC and the MTA transit service free for all federal workers, for all of our federal workers who are moving, especially those who now have to go to work every day and not getting paid for it. Just simply show your federal badge, your ride is free. And the reason that we've been so aggressive is because the longer this shutdown lasts, the more pain that our people are feeling. We're seeing more furloughs. We're seeing more families go without pay. We are seeing permanent economic damage. And this president is not just holding firm. He's relishing in the fact that he continues to turn the screws on the American people and watches and smiles while the American people feel the pain. Donald Trump is refusing to deploy emergency federal funding that would keep food assistance programs running during this shutdown. And by doing that, I want to be clear, he is breaking the law. Gladly. And to be clear that he is breaking the law, it's why I'm proud of the fact that Maryland was amongst the first states to sue the federal government for breaking the law and pushing more children into poverty and pushing more children to now suffer the consequences of the fact that Washington, D.C. is broken. Withholding federal food assistance is not just illegal, it is cruel. 680,000 Marylanders rely on SNAP to put food on the table. We're talking about 120,000 older adults, 270,000 children, and 130,000 Marylanders with disabilities. This is real. And the impacts that we are seeing are distinct. And so I want to take a moment to thank all the public servants. The people who, when we are watching this assault from the federal government on the state of Maryland, the people who have said it is our responsibility to step up. All the public servants, all the neighbors, all the community members, members of the Moore-Miller administration. I want to thank a few who are here today, our Secretary of Human Services, Rafael Lopez, our Secretary of Aging, Carmel Rooks, our Secretary of Agriculture, Kevin Addix, our Special Secretary for Children, Carmel Martin, our Secretary of State, Susan Lee, our Secretary for Emergency Management, Secretary Strickland. Right here. I also want to thank all of our friends at the Anne Arundel County Food Bank who are doing absolutely extraordinary work to take care of our community. Leah, to you and your team, we just want to say God bless you and thank you. Thank you. I want to thank this remarkable team from Anne Arundel County who are representing the county so well in Annapolis, and that includes our friends Senators Bidle and Senator Guile, Delegates Chang, Rogers, and Schmidt. I want to thank members of the County Council, to include Vice Chair Rodbian, for all of her leadership. Where'd she go? And also, importantly, I want to continue to thank our extraordinary county executive for continuing to lead the charge inside the county and say how proud I am to be one of your constituents, sir.
And Allison Pickard.
And Allison, oh, and Allison. And Allison Pickard as well. And Pete Smith as well. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Now, I do want to be very, very clear. The decision to declare an emergency declaration is not one that I made lightly. I understand the weight of what it means to put this state under a state of emergency, particularly when the state of emergency is not a natural disaster, when it is a human-made one. It is a Washington-made one. It is a Trump administration-made one. We are barreling towards the longest federal government shutdown in the history of the United States. And no state can fill the gap that is made when Washington, D.C. looks at each and every one of us and says it's not that the relationship between the federal government and our states is altered, that it's severed. But in Maryland, that doesn't mean we give up. In Maryland, we protect our people. In Maryland, we stand on the wall. We're going to make sure our people are okay. It's not the work of a single day or a single announcement. This is an ongoing pledge that I and we are making to the people of the state of Maryland. We refuse to abandon you. We refuse to leave you behind. We will keep taking this week by week and work with our legislative partners to do everything that we can with the resources that we have. But to be clear, to ask any state to try to make up for $250 million a month because the federal government is breaking the law is something that not only no governor can try to take on, but every governor understands the damage that this administration is doing to us. And as the shutdown continues, Marylanders can continue to visit our emergency site for regular updates on all of our efforts to launch new resources on behalf of the people of this state. Since we've launched our emergency website, we've already had more than 120,000 unique visitors and expect to see those numbers increasing in the coming days. Nearly 270,000 Marylanders are federal employees. 225,000 federal contractors work in Maryland, and all of them need our support. And so I would encourage all Marylanders to go visit go.md.gov/federal shutdown. Until this shutdown ends, we share a collective responsibility to help each other. If you know a family member or a friend who relies on SNAP, if you see people in your community who are struggling, if you know that your neighbor just got furloughed, they need your help. So I'm asking all Marylanders, do what you can. Support your local food bank. Get friends together and start a fund to support families in poverty. Check on your loved ones and make sure they're okay. Because in Maryland, we take care of each other. It's who we are. We are going to weather this storm. We are going to stand with our people. We will never bend the knee. But we are going to make sure that our people stand up tall. And I say this to President Trump on behalf of the 6.5 million Marylanders, including the 680,000 who will leave SNAP, who will lose SNAP because of your decisions. On behalf of our veterans, on behalf of our farmers, on behalf of our children, on behalf of our seniors, on behalf of the bipartisan group that you see standing in front of you right now, my message to you is this: stop this shutdown now. You have the authority. All the president needs to do is simply pick up the phone and say, it's time to end this thing. And so every single day it goes on, we know where we're placing our blame. I'm not holding out hope that he will. But I truly believe, and I pray to God, in this moment he'll see the impacts of what's happening and realize that he must. In Maryland, we're going to do our job. Now it's time for the president to do his. And so now I would like to call our administration personnel to join me in the signing of this executive order.
We'll have time for just a few questions.
Can you say why this route versus dipping into other funds, rainy day? I know you've addressed this in the past, but now that you've made this decision, why go this direction versus tapping into reserves, rainy day, and things like that?
Yeah, I mean, what we just did today is a historically aggressive measure to be able to support our children and to make sure that we're providing food assistance to our food banks, to those most in need, and to make sure that these cruel decisions by the federal government can be supported by the people of this state. And I do want to be clear that what the federal government is doing by not allocating money for SNAP is illegal. They are breaking the law to do this. And to now turn around and break the law and then ask the states to try to cover down on it just continues to double down on not just the foolishness, but the cruelty that we're seeing from the federal government. So I'm thankful that, that our state is going to make sure that we have now taken historic measures to ensure that our children are getting food assistance that they need, that seniors are not starving, that military veterans are getting the aid that this country promised to them, because the federal government has just decided that they want to break the law just to see how quickly the people of this country can break.
Governor Moore, if it's not raining now, then what does it look like in Maryland when it's raining and it's time to use the rainy day fund?
Well, I think that we have shown that not only are we going to make sure that we're protecting and taking care of our people, but that also we're going to ensure that there is a real measure of fiscal discipline when it comes to how Maryland is going to manage its finances. You know, the fact that we just made a historic measure to be able to ensure that our food banks are getting support, despite the fact that the federal government has now decided to break the law so people could starve, I think shows the people of this state that Maryland is going to continue looking out for its people. I think that people of the state see that in just these past weeks that we've been able to take extraordinary measures to ensure that federal workers are not going to have their utilities shut off or going to be evicted during the time of this shutdown, that we can make sure that public transit is free for all of our federal workers, so as they are navigating, many of whom are going to work without getting paid, that they're not then having to get charged for that. I think the people of our state know and understand that we are both going to make sure that we are being fiscally disciplined and protect the people of our state, particularly in this moment of need when the federal government decides to illegally bring harm to the people of Maryland.
Jenny, I saw your hand. Jenny, I saw your hand. I'll get around.
Is the $10 million going to be sufficient? I mean, even for a week, the numbers don't seem to add up to what's being cut through SNAP. So how are you all getting out the need versus what you're allocating?
Yeah, I mean, we are going to consistently evaluate where the needs are and what our state needs to do to try to cover down on that. But we are also very clear that there is no state that has the resources or the balance sheet to make up for when the federal government decides that they are no longer going to provide something that they are legally obligated to be able to provide. So we are going to consistently monitor and make whatever decisions are necessary to ensure that our people are okay. But we are also very clear that to ask any single state to say that you are going to cover down on $250 million a month because the federal government is going to break the law is not a fair ask for any governor nor any state inside this entire country.
Okay.
You're saying that no state can afford this, but there are other states that are using state funds to pay for SNAP at least through November, including New Mexico and Virginia. And we have state lawmakers in Maryland saying this is something that the state can afford. Can you explain why your thinking differs and why you don't think Maryland can afford to dip into the rainy day fund to pay for SNAP?
Yeah, I also know that the capital that is could be used towards being able to cover down on this is also capital where there is normally an assurance that you're going to get reimbursement from the federal government. I have no belief that the federal government is going to reimburse anybody for anything. I have no belief that the federal government is going to honor its promises. The reason we're in this situation is because the federal government is breaking the law. The reason we're in this situation is because the federal government is not honoring its promises. So the idea that somehow we should take the federal government at its word, that it is going to reimburse these states, I think is just continuing to show that we are giving the Trump administration too much credit, and credit that, frankly, they do not deserve.
WBAL.
Governor Moore, I certainly understand that it's election season, but given the state of emergency now, I know that you're scheduled to be in Virginia this weekend. We'll plan campaigning for Abigail Spanberger. Does that alter plans? Will you be staying in the state now during the state of emergency?
No, because I plan on going down there and helping to make sure that Abigail Spanberger becomes the next governor of Virginia, because we need governors that actually take this moment seriously. The reason that I'm going to support Abigail Spanberger is because who your governor is matters. And I think we are seeing that every single day, the illustration of what that looks like. And so I'm excited to have Abigail Spanberger as my partner. I believe that governors in many ways are becoming a really important line of defense around these illegal actions that we are seeing from the Trump administration. And I'm looking forward to have a partner inside the governor's mansion down in the Commonwealth of Virginia who understands that what we understand in Maryland is that we will work with anyone, but we will bow down to no one.
Last question, Mackenzie.
Governor, thank you. Pivoting to some of the other vulnerable people in the state of Maryland, I wanted to ask about DHS. And I know that yesterday you said that you take all of the findings of these various reports seriously and addressing the issues within the Department of Human Services seriously, and that you want to do it within your term. But when you took office, you knew about these problems. There were report after report after report detailing the issues within the department. So why should Marylanders trust that there will actually be meaningful change and real accountability when it's taken this long to see some policy shifts?
Well, I'm grateful for the work that Secretary Lopez and the team over at DHS has done to address a lot of these challenges that were longstanding. I mean, as you indicated, Mackenzie, many of the challenges that we were talking about are things that predated not just our inauguration, but predated even our announcement to run for governor in the first place. And so we knew the challenges that existed within DHS. It was the reason that I was excited to have someone like Secretary Lopez, who could come in and actually address the hard problems, address the hard issues, and know that even though these were not problems that started under our watch, these were problems that would be addressed under our watch. And so we know that we have more work to do, that there is not one of us that is going to be settled until we have a situation where every single child, every single family, every single Marylander is receiving the supports that they need. But we also know that in order to do that, in order to continue pushing forward the right kind of measures, the right kind of improvements, it means that we have to be committed to having accountability and transparency and improvement. It is where I am, it is where Secretary Lopez is, it is where the department is, that we are going to get it right under our time, even if these challenges happen before our time.
A quick follow-up, if I can. Advocates argue, though, that there is no accountability within this department right now, and that transparency continues to lack within the agency. How much longer is the public expected to wait to see real results?
Well, I would argue that for anybody who thinks that that there is not transparency, they should spend time with Secretary Lopez and the team, because this is a deeply transparent team that they have on board. A team that is focused on making sure that we can both get to the right results and making sure we're bringing the population along those lines as well.
Thank you.